Hey folks, ET here coming at you with the week ahead look for a few tickers, and here we are going to start with NVIDIA. It's been on everybody's minds a lot lately. It's been all over X. Everybody's been talking about it. Let's see how we're doing. So we're going to start with customer sentiment, which has gone quite bullish right here. So pretty crazy to see, just a huge shift in that as we go along. And then we're going to kind of look at the gamma and the dark pools, starting with the dark pools, see where we go from there. So DP is interesting. If you ever watch any of our videos, I frequently talk about where our largest aggregate is and how long price has spent away from it. So how far away we are and how long we spent away. We are way above or below our current largest aggregate dark pool. So keep an eye on that. Not saying we rip. We'll check gamma and we'll see what the potential is there next. And we'll go ahead and jump right in. So I've gone ahead and gone to this week's expiry filter for us. So we'll go ahead and take a look. Right now, we're kind of ranging in between this 120, 117 just a little bit. Huge positives. Remember, positive, repel, red attract. So our biggest attraction right now is interested in the 150. So if we cannot hold 117, all right, we trade green to green. We've got room down to 110. If we can break and hold above 120, which is a huge repel bar, and it's been struggling with that. Believe it or not, we have room all the way up to 130, which, guess what, is somewhat near that massive dark pool. So what we want to see here is we want to see a continuation of that customer sentiment going upwards. We want to see a break of 120 for a potential to 130 for our upside moves, and then if we're going to have downside moves, we want to see a break of this 117 that can bring us down to that 110. Still a nice range, 117 to 110, if we don't happen to get the upside move. Two ways there to take a look at it. So that is NVIDIA, short and sweet. Next up for us is Tesla, which has seen a pretty big bullish increase here on its customer sentiment, as well as it found a bit of a bottom and started moving upwards. Couple interesting data points for us here. One, our largest aggregate dark pools below where we are in price right now. We're about 230, as you can see there, and we're pretty far away from that. So keep an eye there. If we have any downside, 210 right there is a good spot to watch. Its gamma is interesting and pretty wild, to be honest. Very interesting, very wild. 230 is a huge spot. Point of contention is it's a massive repel level. There's nothing really pulling too interestingly enough either way to give us much room there to take a look at which way. So the way we'll play this is breaking 230, holding 230 definitely gives us room to 240, can keep ramping up. We want to see that customer sentiment continue to go up as well into the bullish territory, and not being able to hold 230 really has some room down to that 200, maybe this 215. There's a tiny repel there. Very simple look at Tesla. Just like NVIDIA, what we're looking for is a break or a repel away, either way, from our big green gamma levels here. We hold it, we remain bullish. If we lose it and can't reclaim it, we get a little bit towards the bearish side. So let's see how that pans out with Tesla this week. Don't forget we have the FOMC and the rate decision on Wednesday, so things could get a little hairy as we go along. We could see some volatility from there. Next up is Apple for us, which really its customer sentiment has sort of been somewhat neutral. No big moves, to be honest. We've just hung down here in the slightly bearish, but no big moves. So for upside, what we want to see is we want to see this red bar here translate into a nice abrupt green bar if we're going to get bullish. Right now, really, as you can see, we've just been consolidating in a very tight range as of late. Dark pools, 220, I think this is an important level, and gamma will show us why here in a second. Plain and simple, that's our largest aggregate. Holding that or staying above it is good for bulls, bad for bears, and if we can't reclaim it, if we get below it, then that is obviously good for the bears. Take a look at its gamma. Guess what? 220. Nice large positive repel bar there for us as we take a look at that, with a nice range of 220 to 230. So We break 230 just like everything. We trade green to green, ignore the in between. We break 230, we stay above it. We have room to 240. If we cannot hold 220, there's a lot of stopping right around here. And if you check price from last week, we kind of stopped around this area and bounced back up each time. So this cluster here kind of saved price from going down too much. Largest pulls at 225, plain and simple. We hold 220 on bullish days. We target 230. If we somehow break 230 on bullish days, we target 240. Gamma does change throughout the week, so want to keep an eye there. We've got two small pulls over here and over here for breakout or breakdowns, probably depending on what data bombs do for us this week. So keep an eye there for Apple. 220 is going to be very important. If we continue to hold 220, we're doing well. If we're not doing as well. That is all for our three tickers. Very simple, very concise, trying to give you levels to keep an eye on for entries and exits, things that I'll be watching myself. I'll be setting some TV alerts for prices approaching any of these spots to see what happens and then go from there. Everybody have a good week. Stay safe out there and go get that Oprah money.